Who is the real Iron Man? Not the comic book hero, but the real-life billionaire weapons dealer. A man without a country and without a conscience. A man who fueled the fires of World War I and laughed all the way to the bank. His name was Basil Zaharoff. History remembers him as the Merchant of Death. Before he died, he burned almost all of his diaries and secret letters. He wanted to erase his past because it was filled with scams, spies, and blood. But we have pieced together the truth, and the truth reveals the terrifying hidden logic of the arms trade. Zaharoff was born in the Ottoman Empire in the city of Mughla. He grew up on the rough streets of Constantinople. He started his career not as a businessman, but as a guide for tourists, a money changer, and even a fireman. But remember, the fires in Constantinople were like the fires in Crassus's Rome. Sometimes the firemen started them just to get paid. Zaharoff learned early that chaos equals cash. He eventually moved to Athens and met a man named Nordenfelt who made machine guns. This was his entry into the world of death. Zaharoff was a natural salesman. He was charming, he spoke many languages, and he knew how to bribe anyone. But his true genius was a strategy called the system. Here is how it worked. In the 1880s, the first steam-powered submarines were invented. They were dangerous, unreliable, and nobody wanted them. But Zaharoff went to the Greek government. He played on their patriotism and fear. He sold them one submarine. Then he immediately went to the Turkish government. He told them, look, the Greeks just bought a submarine. You are in danger. So the Turks bought 2 submarines. Then he went to the Russians. He said, the Greeks and the Turks both have submarines now. The Black Sea is not safe. So the Russians bought 2 as well. None of these submarines worked properly. One of them even sank during a test, but that didn't matter. Zaharoff had created an arms race out of thin air. He proved that you don't need a war to sell weapons, you just need fear. He took this strategy to the next level with the Maxim machine gun. Hiram Maxim had invented a gun that could fire 600 rounds a minute. It was a weapon of mass destruction. Zaharoff didn't just sell it. He partnered with Maxim. He traveled across Europe bribing generals and politicians to buy his guns. He used newspapers to spread rumors of war between countries. When World War I finally exploded in 1914, it was Zaharoff's dream come true. He owned shares in the biggest munitions factory in Britain called Vickers. He sold guns to the British. He sold guns to the French. Through secret intermediaries, his company even sold technology that ended up in German hands. British soldiers were being killed by weapons that made profits for a British company. By the end of the war, Zaharoff was the richest man in Europe. He was knighted by the King of England. He was awarded the Legion of Honor by France. The man who had fueled the slaughter of millions was treated like a hero. After the war, he settled in Monte Carlo. He bought the famous casino of Monte Carlo and turned it into his private playground. He spent his final years sitting in a wheelchair watching the blue sea and the spinning roulette wheels. He died in 1936, but his legacy is very much alive. Basil Zaharoff created the blueprint for the military-industrial complex. He taught the world that war is not just politics, war is a business. And in this business, the customer is always wrong because the customer ends up dead. The only winner is the dealer. Today, when we see conflicts around the world and arms shipments worth billions, we are watching Zaharoff's system in action. Fear sells, and it sells very well. This concludes our series on the architects of money. We have met the Medici who bought heaven, the Fuggers who bought emperors, the Rothschilds who mastered information, Morgan who owned the bank, Rockefeller who owned the fuel, and Zaharoff who owned the guns. These families built the cage we live in. But understanding how the cage was built is the first step to freedom. Now that we understand the players, it is time to look at the game board. In our next massive playlist, we are going to look at empires. Why do superpowers rise, and why do they inevitably collapse? We will start with the Spanish Empire and how they died from too much gold. We will look at the Ottoman Empire, the British Empire, and the Soviet Union. It is called Empires and Economics, and it starts in the next video. Subscribe to Hidden Logic. The class is just getting started. Thank you for watching.